For North Carolina, number 30, Al Wood. Number 20, Gene Banks. And number 31, Mike O'Corin. At center for the Blue Devils, number 43, Mike Jaminski. And for the Tar Heels, number 34, Pete Butko. The guards for Duke, number 22, John Harrell. For North Carolina, number 20, Dave Colescott. Number 34, Jim Sponarkle. And number 22, Dudley Bradley. The Blue Devils are coached by Bill Foster, the Tar Heels by Dean Smith.
The officials for tonight's championship game from the Southwest Conference are Dan Watson, Denny Bishop, and Jim Harvey. And you noted in the Duke starting lineup that Johnny Harrell, who was a regular starting guard a year ago, is back in the lineup in place of Bob Bender, who was taken to Duke Hospital late today with possibility of an appendectomy forthcoming. The first diagnosis of his illness was appendicitis. There's the North Carolina lineup. Now you'll note that starting at center is Pete Butko, but he'll be in for the opening tip up to the first dead ball only, and then Rich Yoniker will come off the bench. That's been a pattern that's been used by Dean Smith. And here's Duke with Johnny Harrell, number 22, starting at guard in place of Bob Bender, the regular point guard for Duke. Duke will be wearing the dark blue tonight. And North Carolina, the higher seeded team. These two teams tied for the regular season at 9-3. And there's the results of 3 games they played this year. In the Big Four in December, won by Duke. North Carolina won at home. Duke won at home in what was the slow-down famous game a week ago. And here we go now for the championship of the ACC, controlled by Jaminski to Harrell, and Duke's got it up there. Opening tip, and Jimmy Sponarkle looking inside to Jaminski. They want to go in, but North Carolina's popped back, and a steal here by Dudley Bradley. Defensive wizard for the Tar Heels, and Bradley shot pulled off by Sponarkle. Well, they're off and running tonight, Billy.
Well, they certainly are. Of course, we haven't seen what North Carolina's going to do. There's Jaminski inside, and he hustles. They're playing straight man-to-man. It looks like Bradley's going to try to come back inside to help on Jaminski, but so far, Butko's got him one-on-one.
And Eugene Banks guarding Michael O'Corin. That'll be an interesting matchup. And Denard has taken Al Wood, the leading scorer. There goes Wood for a drive-in layup. A push on the play, and the basket is not going to count. The foul by Denard came before the shot.
Well, that's a tough matchup. You've got Denard who gets in foul trouble. Here we're going to see Dudley Bradley. He tried to help it out on Jaminski. Butko coming up. There he goes after the ball. Gene Banks, the man with sure hands, just had it taken away.
He made a beautiful move. He hesitated for a second and gave Banks confidence to go on, and then stole it.
Here's the 1-3-1 zone now. Banks running the baseline. Duke matches up out of this. Trying to find the Carolina players and guard them, even though they're in the zone.
Zone comes from the inbounds play, which came down here in the front court.
Yoniker in there now, as you pointed out, Jim.
First dead ball. He's going to replace Butko.
Butko had a fine game last night.
They're going to break a man in the middle. They should.
There comes Yoniker. They cut him off. Now they get to Yoniker inside.
Great pass by Bradley, and oh, just as you pointed out, Yoniker, instead of standing around in there, broke quickly into the right spot.
Doesn't do you any good just to move and roll around. You got to do some quickness.
Here's a zone by North Carolina.
Team switching defenses each time to come down court. Jimmy Sponarkle's an outside threat. They're missing Bob Bender's outside shooting here. Duke will against the zone because he's an excellent jump shooter for
Sponarkle's open.
Ah, there he is. A 15-footer. Jimmy Sponarkle, Denard taps once. Woods got it to North Carolina. Tar Heels on the fast break. Colescott comes from the middle, but the Duke defense recovers. Long one by Yoniker, 20-footer out of his range. Jaminski's got it. He's a good outlet passer, but North Carolina's defense back quickly.
That was something. O'Corin was in the same position as Jaminski to grab that rebound. This shows you what that extra size will do.
Gene Banks' pass is knocked down by O'Corin, and here comes Colescott driving on Harrell. Colescott fouled by Harrell. Johnny Harrell fouling Dave Colescott on a breakaway toward the basket with the score tied at 2.
Gene Banks was hemmed up a little bit. He fell the passing lane here, went to throw it, and a good job by Michael O'Corin. Colescott had a real good start at the beginning of the season before that injury. But, Jim, I'll be honest with you, I think he's come back even stronger since the injury and really is playing a fast
three.
He moves it in the front court much faster than he has any time during the season.
Yeah, that from the top of one key to the top of the other, he's just been blazing.
His free throwing close to 87%. North Carolina leads for the first time at 4-2.
Little phony full court man-to-man.
Solid screen set by Denard. Johnny Harrell playing in place of Bender. Here's Spanarkel. He likes to drive. Spanarkel and Denard tips once, twice, and it's lost by Spanarkel out of bounds. It'll go to North Carolina with the Tar Heels in the lead, 4-2. 1 week ago tonight, these two teams met, and the halftime score was 7-0. Won't happen here.
Man-to-man again. Duke changing their defense.
Now Wood penetrates. His own shot he follows.
That's what you said. Shoot it and go get it.
Al Wood gives North Carolina a 4-point lead. First time either team.
Bradley again.
Yep, another steal, the second one.
O'Koren very carefully protected that ball. Dropped down to a low dribble when he felt pressure coming.
North Carolina is coming off a near-perfect performance last night, which they defeated University of Maryland in overwhelming fashion, 102-79. Man-for-man defense again by Duke.
O'Koren had the back door.
Wood up over Denard, and Denard fouls him. That's the second foul on Denard. Remember, Duke has been weakened by the loss of one starter in Bob Bender, and Denard is foul prone. 16:36 to go in the first half, and there's timeout on the court with the score. North Carolina 6 and Duke 2.
Why does Piedmont Airlines have so...
Here's Dudley Bradley down in the corner, reaching in again. Boy, you cannot pick your head up, Bones, when he's around.
I've got, you got to know where he is all the time, and I'd take the ball away from him. Just get away from him. He's got glue on his hand.
Man, that was the 90th steal he's had this year.
You know something I noticed on Kenny Denard there, too, Jim, you pointed out he has 2 fouls on him. What he's trying to do is help out other teammates so he gets out of position. You've got a guy like Al Wood to guard. You better just take care of him, not worry about helping out too much, because he's constantly a threat with that ball.
All right, no changes for either lineup. Duke in the zone here off the inbounds play, then the 2-3.
It's the first time they've used the 2-3.
They're going to have cross-court
triangle. Working the triangle on the right side. They were with Bradley, Yannicker, and O'Koren. Now they move it to the left.
If they'll pass a man, Jim, they can get that ball diagonally to Colescott when he's over here. Right now, they can get it to Colescott.
Well, a weak side pass, but they're not going to it.
If you pass it around like that, you can't do it. They'll slide the zone.
Duke packed in pretty good. It's going to be tough to get a man inside that.
Now they can hit him.
Jimmy Spanarkel feels it. He's going backwards.
Yannicker gets a little soft jumper. Surprised they left him open that closely. 8-2, and North Carolina scored 8 unanswered points here in the first 5 minutes of the game.
I think we'll have a question answered the next time down the floor for North Carolina, and that is, are they going to hold the ball if they get the lead in the first half of this ball game?
I don't believe they will.
I don't think so either.
Johnny Harrell, the outside. Well, Bob Bender couldn't have improved on that. 8-4. That breaks a little cold spell for the Blue Devils. 4-point lead for North Carolina.
The key may be when they score a basket, they go back to man-to-man.
Yeah, they are. Man for man. Right now, you can see a little double team. North Carolina going down to its movement and passing attack, and O'Koren drives.
And he took that thing baseline and gave a little fake. He was waiting for Jaminski.
10-4. Second time, the Tar Heels led by 6.
Both of them use similar attacks against the zone.
Denard, they'll give him that unguarded shot. He's an excellent corner shooter. 10-6. There are no surprises on these teams as far as knowing the personalities. All clubs know each other as well as they know their own team. So
there's Denard, much more conscious of Wood now. You can watch that matchup.
Yannick on the outside, 2 in a row. For the left-hander from Cleveland. 6 points for Rich Yannick since coming off the bench. 12-6. Now teams are answering each other, but North Carolina had that run of 8 straight points. Now, I think they are accepting the fact they're going to have to go with the outside shot. Now they spot Banks on the inside. He just fumbled the ball, and Yannicka takes it away.
Yannicka gives the signal to come on out.
Chance to go up by 8. Alwood firing. Rebound is off to Denard for Duke. And thrown by Bradley again, but he missed, as you saw. Banks to
beautiful
back to Banks. Great return, give and go. Eugene Banks and Jim Spanarkel from the east combining for that one. Banks from Philadelphia, Spanarkel from Jersey City.
Kenny Denard gave the signal to come out for a little rest.
Duke back to the 2-3 zone again.
Jaminski's been silent on defense so far, Bones. His man has scored 6, and he let that O'Corin pass on the baseline get by him.
He's not ready yet.
O'Corin outside. The great versatility of Mike O'Corin. 14-8. Back to a 6-point lead goes North Carolina. Strangely, even though these teams have great backgrounds, only the 3rd time they met in the championship game. Loose ball, and as Jaminski got it, puts it up, and he's fouled. Jaminski was right below the hoop, which made it difficult for him to make the layup, but he was finally fouled by Al Wood. Boy, Bill Foster to his feet.
There's a 3-second possibility also. Now watch. See how long he's standing in the lane right here? Now he's going to pick it up. He kind of was off balance, didn't realize he was right underneath the basket and couldn't get it off. Foul on Wood.
So easy, so close, yet so far away.
Last time Jaminski was at the line, we had a very freak thing happen. He had 2 free throws last night with 1 second to go and his team leading by 2. He missed the first one. He missed the second one. The ball came right back to him, and he fired it in for the final points.
Did either of you had a chance to ask him whether or not he was trying to miss that second one? It bounced right off the rim like he had a minute to do so. I never did understand why he put the shot back up. If he'd have sat on the ball, the game's over.
Billy, when you played, you'd have scored.
No, come on.
You'd have tried.
No.
Changes for North Carolina. John Virgil and Jet Doughton are in. And Jaminski's going to take a rest as Scott Getz comes in the ball game. I think maybe that Bill Foster wants to talk to his big center, Billy. You were noticing a moment ago that he'd been a little lax on defense.
You're right, Jim. He's right down there talking to Mike Jaminski now. Not even watching the game. He wants to get
what a pass to Doughton. Oh, a candy. That was a super assist to Jed Doughton. North Carolina's come back to take a 6-point lead again, 16-10. Steve Gray is now on the Duke lineup at guard. And Vince Taylor is in it forward.
Good overplay by Jimmy Black.
And they're going to Spanarkel, who goes back door, and Virgil recovers just in time.
If that pass had been far enough, it would have been perfect play.
Jimmy Black doing a fine job. He's a guy with a good future also. Very good quickness.
If you're going to overplay on Spanarkel, you better be very careful. Gene Banks driving. Banks now trying to get into the flow. 16-12. North Carolina's up by 4. Now Foster had just a short talk with Jaminski, and he's sitting back to the scores table to return. Man for man by Duke.
Spanarkel working on defense.
He has to work with a man as small as Doughton.
Down low, Butko over Getz. Rebound is off of Steve Gray. Gray had a clutch free throw last night off the bench. He may be playing more tonight with Bob Bender out of there.
You don't want to foul him, I can assure you of that.
Spanarkel, but there's a whistle, stops play. There was a foul off the ball, I think, on O'Corin.
Right.
First foul on O'Corin. Second team foul against North Carolina is Dean Smith. Shouts out to his star forward, and there's timeout on the court with the score. North Carolina 16 and Duke 12. Carolina, who will show you how the teams got in the finals. Duke University went all the way to the championship game of the NCAA last year, but the Blue Devils have had a rough road to the finals here. They survived a real scare against Wake Forest, 58-56. Jim Spanarkel had 2 free throws with 2 seconds to go. And last night, North Carolina stayed a great game, and it was a 3-point decision. Wasn't decided until the last 1 second. By contrast, North Carolina won the draw for the bye after tying Duke for the season, and really ripped Maryland last night, 102-79. All that's behind them now. These are 2 great rivals, have been over the years, just a few miles apart.
You know, it's interesting to watch these two coaches substitute early in the game. You can tell the fellas they're resting to have ready for the big drive at the end.
Al Wood on the and here's Jaminsky. Rips that ball off and fires to Gene Banks on the fast break.
Good defense by
Banks. There's a foul on Wood as Jaminsky comes through. Al Wood, second personal foul. Team foul number 3. There'll be no free throwing. Let's see if we can pick it up.
Well, watch Dudley Bradley here. Cuts off the fast break, cuts off the passing lanes. That guy is some kind of defensive player, and there was a foul on Wood.
Just a little collision.
He's a good thinker on defense as well as being quick.
North Carolina again zoning on the inbound play. Spanarkel up in the air. Foul on the play. A foul on Spanarkel. Let's see if the basket counts. It won't. The basket is taken away. And Spanarkel is charged with a ball control offensive foul. And it goes over to North Carolina. Quite a break right here. Watch it.
Watch this drive now. Yannicker does the right thing. Here he is. Oh, he pushed off with the left arm. As he released the ball, that official made a tough, gutty call, but I think he was on the money.
And he was, and the replay shows 16-12. 4-point lead for North Carolina, noted for their tight defense. O'Corn's low on Banks and feeds it into Yannick. Great block by Jaminsky. Up goes O'Corn on the follow, and another follow by Bradley. Dudley Bradley. 18-12. North Carolina by 6. Vince Taylor. Now North Carolina's really putting on the pressure. Backdoor. Gene Banks takes it for a short jumper. And rebound is taken away by Yannicker and almost thrown away, and a good save by Dudley Bradley.
You can say saved all the time when you're going to say Dudley Bradley.
Jaminsky's starting to get involved defensively now also. You saw him up on the block, but also getting more active. He was standing around the first few minutes of the game. Here he is, coming out on Yannicker now.
Screen for O'Corn on the outside. And rebound, and the foul's going to be on Wood, who was screened out. That's 3. 3 fouls on North Carolina's leading scorer of the season for the most of the way.
Jim, not only that, but if Duke gets in control of the game, they'll go into the zone, and Wood is the guy that North Carolina has to have in the ball game against the zone.
Al Wood averaging 18 points a game. There's Bobby Wenzel to the right of head coach Bill Foster.
Dean Smith, I don't think, realized right now that he has 3 fouls on him. He'd have Virgil in the ball game. He could make a critical miscalculation right here.
There goes Spanarkel penetrating. Rebound is by Gene Banks for Duke. Good fake by Banks. And Banks has got it in traffic, but it's taken away. And here comes O'Corn and down on Hill. O'Corn fakes, drives, and tipped up and in by Wolf. Jeff Wolf on a great follow.
Duke just is not getting back as well as they've been doing.
Here Dean Smith rushing Virgil into the game right now.
Man defense right here.
They're man-to-man.
There goes Harold driving, and he's tripped and fouled by Dudley Bradley. And this will get Al Wood out of the lineup as John Virgil, number 43, a junior from Elm City, North Carolina at 6'5", comes in replacing Wood.
Bones, I know how you feel about trying to get a guy who's in some foul trouble, in greater foul trouble, but just point out to the fans the things that can go wrong when you try to get a guy his 4th one.
Well, what you go away from your game plan. Sometimes that will mess you up. But I would have tried one time to have cleared the side and tried to have gotten the ball to
Wood's man.
Yeah. And or in his area and try to work him and work him and work him. But if you go too long at that, Billy, as well, you know, you can get out of your game plan.
I thought one time down the court they might have had a chance there before Dean could make that substitution.
Duke's going to rest Jim Spanarkel. Vince Taylor's in the lineup with Johnny Harrell. They're the guards right now.
Jaminsky hadn't touched it in offensive area.
Oh, good fake by Taylor, and here's a tap on the inside. Now Jaminsky takes it back up in there, and he's fouled. Well, Jaminsky's strength now beginning to assert itself. The foul's going to be on Jeff Wolf, I think, one of the 3 North Carolina centers. There he is, number 42, 6'11" junior from Kohler, Wisconsin.
Good play by Taylor just to get that off. Wolf is a real good defensive player. Here he goes into the action. Going to go up against Jaminsky. Jaminsky's starting to get a little angry now. We said he was standing earlier, but he's not anymore.
And I'll tell you something, he just cannot get the ball to fit in. He's had several real easy shots for him that didn't go.
I think the next time he gets it down low, we're going to see a cram dunk.
6 points for Jaminsky. Dudley Bradley returns. Shed Doubtman will go out. There's both free throws made by Jaminski. 20-14. That cuts the lead back to 6. Little backcourt zone pressure now by Duke against North Carolina. Dave Colescott back in at point guard.
Talked to Bill Foster about the different defenses that he uses. He said in the tournament, and from here on out, if he gets to go further, he's going to show teams a lot of different looks instead of just the 2-3 zone.
Jim's the 2-3 right now, which has been the basic defense for him the last couple of years. Not as much this year as last, however.
They have a tendency to go in it when they get those big leads, and the other teams seem to come back against it.
Well, good move right into the very middle.
Good fake.
They have no one breaking in there. They're simply passing the ball around.
Now a near steal by Vince Taylor, the freshman. They're missing Wood right now. They need his outside shooting against this zone.
John Virgil can hit it. He's not been touching the ball in the shooting area.
There he goes. Dave Colescott. 22-14.
Jaminski's going to pull out. He'll take that little jumper.
Doing a good job on it.
Banks goes inside, sets up Denard. The shot is blocked, and Vince Taylor puts it in. Great quickness for this young freshman from Lexington, Kentucky. 22-16.
Ball's bounced around a great deal off of both boards without anyone being able to control it quickly.
That Wolf does a good job inside defensively. Good shot blocking.
He's setting the screen if Colescott will take it.
Again, 2 in a row by Dave Colescott. Had an outstanding performance last night. Billy Packer hit it on the nose. He's playing at his peak after coming back from a rather severe eye injury.
Here's Jaminski. They're man-to-man now, but they didn't recognize early enough to get him the ball low.
24-16. Gene Banks sees him. Ball is deflected, and Colescott going for it fouls.
Ooh, and
he hit someone, hit a Duke player.
Spanarkel, who was waiting to go in the ball game, and when Colescott went out of bounds diving for the loose ball, he crashed into Spanarkel. First foul on Colescott. But now there's a timeout on the court with a score. North Carolina 24 and Duke 16.
Here we see Gene Banks going on through the pack. Gives it back. Denard goes in here. Now watch Wolf. Goes up, bats it on the board. Vince Taylor crashing the boards. Now there's the case where I'm sure North Carolina's going to pick it up. Duke is sending everybody to the boards. When you do that, you're susceptible to the fast break.
Now one end of this Coliseum is going to be rocking tonight because by quirk of the rotation or the draw, the student sections of both these schools are side by side in one end zone of the Greensboro Coliseum.
Jim, you mentioned a foul on Colescott there. Bonesy can't foul that man out of bounds, and Jim was saying that, I know, kiddingly, but he did foul Spanarkel, who wasn't even in the game at the time, but it won't count against him.
Jimmy feels like he should come right in the game and shoot a free throw.
Shoot a free throw, right?
Taylor on the inside fake. Oh, this guy can really fake. Vince Taylor in traffic.
He didn't move the ball too much on his fake, just enough.
24-18.
Here's a 1-3-1 zone. Duke is
matching up.
Right, they're changing around a lot. Trying to keep North Carolina off balance so they can't get into a basic offense.
Well, you need more than a couple of defenses.
There goes Virgil. Great shooter, John Virgil penetrates and scores. 26-18. North Carolina back to the 8-point lead. They jumped in front early with 8 straight points, and they've held off most of the comeback attempts of Duke. Spanarkel moves in close, draws the foul on Virgil. North Carolina now has committed 18 fouls. I think this will be 2 shots coming up here for Spanarkel.
There were times during the season when Jimmy Spanarkel wasn't getting the ball that much, and you notice now they're starting to go to him a lot offensively. He really creates problems for the defense. Goes up right here. Doesn't look from that angle as if he got shoved, but we had the perfect angle up here, and he did get hit from the back.
Now Jim Spanarkel stands at the line, and with a historic free throw, just tied Art Heyman for the career scoring record for Duke University, 1,984 points. Going to be the first 2,000-point scorer, perhaps, in Duke history. That just made him the all-time scoring champion. Zone trap. Oh, but knocked down by Spanarkel, but recovered by Dudley Bradley. Now they get close to 10 seconds.
Duke getting a lot of mileage out of these different zones now. Now it's the 2-3 zone.
But trapping.
Yes, they've kept North Carolina off balance a little bit.
Dudley Bradley getting another close to goaltending by Jaminsky, and that ball's kept alive by Johnny Harrell, and then a foul against Taylor. All the way to the other end of the floor, you can see Dean Smith. He's still calling for goaltending on the last shot. The block by Jaminsky was right at the peak of the shot.
He wants Cole Scott to tell the official that there was a goaltending violation. We're going to see it right here. Here's Bradley going in. Real close. Boy, that would have been a tough.
I think the ball was hanging right at the peak.
Quickness by Cole Scott. There's Cole Scott going after it against Taylor. Taylor fouled him.
First foul by Vince Taylor. Team foul number 5 by Duke.
Dean getting a little extra word in there, telling that fellow to be careful.
Had a long time to talk that time with him.
6-point lead by North Carolina. Duke in a 2-3 zone. Now they're in another pattern out of the 2-3. They're not double teaming as much.
Excuse me, Jim. You can see what Wood means to this team offensively with him in there. Of course, they've got that perimeter shooting available.
They're doing some breaking to the middle now.
Off the foot of Denard it was, so North Carolina retains possession. Rich Yoniker is going to check back in the North Carolina lineup. And replacing Jeff Wolf. There's Yoniker number 50. He's 6'9", Wolf 6'11". There goes Virgil, cut off right underneath, has to clear it way back out.
They can hit that middle man if they would.
Cole Scott and Virgil are two good outside shooters right here in this lineup.
They got to bounce past that thing into a man in the middle when he breaks in there if they're going to be successful with it.
Real patient against the zone.
Little triangle.
There you are. Now a little bounce pass.
Weak side pass, Bones, what you were talking about.
Right, that's what they need to do with it.
Virgil drives right in on a penetration and then backs the ball out of which will give it to Duke.
A little momentum change taking place right now. Even though North Carolina has the lead, they haven't had the good shot here last few times down the court. Felt the momentum was on their side up to this point.
26-20. Haven't been able to get it into Jaminsky that much. Got it away. Here comes Cole Scott on Hell. Cole Scott, and the ball is taken by Taylor. Now they got a 2-on-1 with Jaminsky and Denard. Back
Beautiful.
to what? Great ball handling. He's held by a fumble by Jaminsky.
Jaminsky is just having a difficult time all night.
And look at him smiling. No, Kenny Denard went over and said, we'll get it back again. I think that's going to fire Jaminsky up. He's that kind of player.
26-20, 6-point lead by North Carolina. Duke just blew a golden opportunity to cut it to 4. Almost batted down again. This will be a foul. It'll be Harrell or Spanarkel. I think Johnny Harrell reached in.
Here we're going to see the play. You know, Johnny Harrell came up. Dudley Bradley smacks it away. No, that was John Virgil. Excuse me. Smacked it away. Good job by Johnny Harrell down here. Taylor getting all the way.
Did you see him push him?
Yeah. Here goes that pass. He might get all of this.
Would have been
bounce
spectacular,
pass
wouldn't it?
over. He just lost to him. I think he was thinking about the flush.
Absolutely.
North Carolina looks to go up 8 again. Now they got Virgil and Cole Scott back deep. Two good perimeter shooters.
O'Corin getting in the middle. He's really active there. Two good teams. Maybe the two best teams been in the finals since those Maryland NC State contests.
Yeah, they were something. And O'Corin baseline. Rebound Jaminsky.
Said it might fire him up.
Spanarkel on the break. They make him go left. Basket's not going to count. The foul is on Dave Colescott before the shot. Second foul on Colescott, the point guard of North Carolina. Spanarkel will shoot when we come back. There's timeout on the court. The score: North Carolina 26 and Duke 20.
There's only one Broadway. It's in New York.
Introducing New York Show Tours.
I love New York.
You think there's not some rivalries here? State says anybody but Carolina.
Carolina has one down the other end. Carolina is a winning tradition. Here's Colescott reaching on in. Grabbed a little piece of the arm. Look at him turn around. Not me, Ralph.
This telecast is presented by the authority of the Atlantic Coast Conference and the C.D. Chesley Company, and any use of this program without written consent is prohibited. The announcers on this program have been approved and contracted for by the C.D. Chesley Company. Well, we've shown you Jim Spanarkel take the all-time scoring lead for Duke University, and now we have a chance to show you Jim Spanarkel past Art Heyman's all-time free-throwing mark. That tied it. 558 he's made in his 4-year career.
Gene Banks has had a good rest for a while. He's back in there now. Here's the full court pressure, and they mean it this time. This is no phony.
Ball was kicked by Taylor on the press. Still be North Carolina's ball. 3:33 to go in the first half. A 4-point lead by North Carolina. Duke's fighting back. They beat the press. Dudley Bradley coming down, but Jaminski, the intimidator, is there.
Still playing it.
Out, stolen away by Banks. Vince Taylor tried with a bounce pass. And it's something by Jeff Downing. And here comes O'Korn. He's down. Jaminski's the one-man back. And it's Colescott from 20 feet.
Well, he follows through so well, but he don't. He just stays right with his shot.
O'Korn had more faith in Colescott than he did himself.
28-22. Defensive plays are leading North Carolina. Vince Taylor trying to penetrate the North Carolina zone. 2-3 zone.
Dangerous pass there.
Taylor gets in there this time. Rebound Dudley Bradley with 2:39 to go in the first half. There's the collision by Colescott, I think. Run into Gene Banks. The foul is on Banks. It'll be the first one on him.
Going to see Taylor go down for a while. He's trying to create things that aren't quite there. Johnny Harrell coming in.
Yep, Harrell coming to replace Taylor. Taylor's doing double service tonight. Normally he's been playing the quick forward, and now he's been playing big guard.
Here we see Banks, who had just come into the ballgame. Now watch Taylor. He's going to try to make a tough play here, but look at the hustle by number 22, Dudley Bradley again.
And Judd Doughton.
And here comes O'Korn down. What Bones was talking about. He had a good shot right there. Threw it on out to Colescott for one he felt was better.
Colescott's made his first free throw, waiting for his second.
Jim, I know you pointed out the start of the game, but people who just tuned in are probably wondering where's Bob Bender?
Well, we don't know, but he could be in the operating table. He was taken to Duke Hospital at apparent signs of appendicitis. And perhaps an appendectomy to be performed tonight.
Well, we hope he's all right. It's a shame to see either team with less than full strength.
Jaminski short, but there goes Spanarkel following.
Jaminski only got air that time.
Well, he's been really held down, and he hasn't had many opportunities to even get a shot off.
29-24. North Carolina lead is 5 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Now, Judd Doughton's a good outside shooter.
Yes,
Number 23.
Spanarkel did a smart thing. He came out on the baseline side that time against that.
Ball shot by Yannick.
That'll kill you when he pulls out that hits like that. But he's a pretty good outside shooter.
That's 4 for him tonight. 4 shots, not points.
31-24. Spanarkel gets on the inside, and he's fouled.
Colescott.
Now, that's going to be Colescott's third. So Wolf and Colescott.
There's Spanarkel. Boy, you give him the ball, he'll create things. Colescott reached in. Spanarkel would have fouled after the situation there, but he had been fouled on the arm.
I'd like to compliment him on going to his left at least twice tonight.
Jim Spanarkel at the free throw line. 4 for 4.
There you go. Jaminski short of the mark. You don't see that often. Look at Spanarkel get position. Use his shoulder to keep Virgil away.
That's the second free throw. They're still just showing 2 fouls on Dave Colescott, so I'm wondering about that last one. 1 minute 30 to go. North Carolina spreads it out in the 4 corners here. Trying to wait for the last rushed out of the first half. This paid off last night against University of Maryland when they were able to score the last shot.
Well, they have a 6-point lead. I think it's good strategy.
Back door. Oh, the man with the great hands couldn't hold it that time.
I'll tell you, that pass had some power on it.
Might have been deflected by Banks.
Good wrist snap by O'Corn on the pass. And, of course, they didn't intend to go for a score that early, but if a man's that wide open. I think they need to get that ball Jaminski some before the half ends and let him get one that goes in the basket.
Denard.
Boy, good block out by Bradley.
Beautiful block out. He just rode Jaminski right out of that.
There's the time. Less than a minute to go in the first half. North Carolina leads by 6 at 31-25. Here's the four-corner spread. A man in each corner. Well, the man works the middle. And it's O'Corn. And charge. O'Corn is charging. You're right there. Second foul on Mike O'Corn, and Duke has stymied the four corners at this time.
Wait a second. Kenny Denard was at a hard time getting up. He tried to get up, went right back down on the floor. Official's going to give him plenty of time, as he should, to make sure he's all right.
Swats the play.
Really surprised North Carolina tried to score it all in this situation. Excellent call. Kenny Denard right in position.
I think you have to credit Jaminski, too, getting into the act, because he might have thrown off Corn's shot a little bit. There's Max Crowder, who's been a busy man today. The point guard for Duke, Bob Bender, came up with pain around 5 o'clock, right after the team's pregame meal in Winston-Salem, where they were staying. He was taken to the hospital, therefore, and the preliminary diagnosis was appendicitis. And then he was rushed by assistant coach Terry Chile to Duke Hospital when they were going to make further tests tonight. And we have no further report. That was the last report. They expected a possible appendectomy to be performed. Steve Gray is going to come in replacing Denard.
And Jim, just think, when that game ended last night, we thought that the real problem physically for Duke was going to be Jim Spanarkel, who had been hit in the eye, and there was a real question whether he could possibly play, but it turned out not to be serious.
Remember that Bob Bender had a pull or a leg cramp late in the ball game, had to be taken out. Dean Smith looking on. His teams have been either first or second half for 13 consecutive years in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
That's a great record. You know what, Coach?
Oh, tremendous.
I think when a guy can do something over a period of time, just shows greatness.
To go through those 13 years alone is tough enough.
Oh, Steve Gray, designated free thrower, came out the bench last night when a player was injured and switched it through, and this time it fails. North Carolina goes back to work in the four corners.
Maybe he's better. Maybe he's better at designated foul shooter.
I think that's pretty much what he was going to do there, Bones. Denard was shaken up. And that's why they went to Gray, because that's not his position. Spanarkel's had to be switched to forward because of that move.
8 seconds.
And it's going to be jetted out way outside, and Jaminski's got it off. Duke's got about 1 second, a 50-footer by Spanarkel, way off the mark, but time runs out here, and the 6-point lead is on the boards for North Carolina at halftime for the ace for the score. North Carolina there because he isn't Dave Colescott. We now see Duke's shooting percentage well below par.
And still be 6 points ahead, because he's not going to go this entire ball game without tearing that basket up. Just can't do it.
And the Atlantic Coast Conference, only one jump ball in the game. That's to start the game. Then it's a rotation.
Ooh, Gene Banks almost at it.
Now North Carolina gets the ball to start the second half. Good jump stop by Dudley Bradley, but North Carolina wants to set it up. That's their game plan to start the second half. Duke matching in the zone.
There was a chance Yannicka breaking into the middle at a time he couldn't get the ball, and then he broke in there at a time he could.
Duke pretty active in that zone right now.
And Dudley Bradley Banks. North Carolina sets it up and draws first blood of the second half. 33-25, equaling the longest lead, 8 points. Zone defense for the Tar Heels. Denard gets the inside, blocked by Bradley. And here goes Hale feeding to Jaminski. His pass over is tipped out of bounds by Bradley. So it'll still be Duke's basketball. repeating the report that Bob Bender resting comfortably after an emergency appendectomy tonight. So his service is lost here for Duke, and the Blue Devils are trailing by 8.
Just as out of curiosity, Jim, do you know how long a man could be out with appendicitis?
I don't know. I think it varies from case to case. It's not as serious as it once was. Jaminski muscles in. Slipped there. Hard off by Bradley. And there's a whistle on the play, and the foul's going to be on Bradley for getting the rebound. That'll be his second.
Notice how Jaminski tried to get the angle on that last shot. It just wasn't there, and he tried to reach his arms out a little bit. Here we're going to see it. He wasn't comfortable with this at all. Trying to back up a little bit to get an angle, never did get it. And there's Bradley coming over the back. He did have the ball, but he had Gene Banks also.
First foul of the second half.
Duke needs to get the ball to Jaminski some to get him on track. He's really having a rough go at it.
Banks in traffic.
You're right, Benny. They've got to get the ball to him. He has to score for Duke to win.
Duke cuts it back to 6. And a 1-3-1 zone. Now they drop back into a 2-3.
Good interior passing there.
And here's Wood on the outside. He sat down for a while in the first half, and it was costly. It's only his second basket, but he's carrying 3 personal fouls. Back up to 8 goes the North Carolina lead. They're in the zone, 2-3. Outside by Harrell.
He's shooting that knuckle there.
Airball. A foul on the play by Denard. That'll be Denard's third foul.
And that's going to bring in Vince Taylor.
This cost Duke some size and muscle on the boards, but Taylor, of course, gives them more quickness. There you see Bill Foster. Last word with Vince Taylor, his prize rookie this year from Lexington, Kentucky, replacing Denard at forward. Taylor's played both guard and forward in this game. Now they can either put Taylor at forward and move Spanarco back to forward. They're versatile in that aspect.
Both teams having to play more zone in the second half because of some key foul trouble.
Dudley Bradley again. A very difficult angle for Bradley.
Almost behind the basket.
Surprised Jaminski that he even took the shot, and therefore he wasn't in position defensively.
That's the biggest
He's looking for the lob now. He wants the lob.
They can get it to him now if they'll lob it.
Well, he's got Wood back there. Wood's a pretty good leaper.
There goes Spanarco, breaks on the inside. Jaminski gets a hand on it. Now he's got 2 hands on it.
Oh, he's having
There's a foul against Jaminski on the play, and he is struggling tonight.
He is frustrated, to say the least.
Jaminski fought hard, finally got possession and missed another layup, and that followed by a foul. His first.
You know, it's really tough to shake something like that, but I think Mike would be smart to go up and go ahead and try to slam dunk one. He's trying to be a cutie pie, and they're just not falling.
Just play your game. It'll take care of itself.
Back to man-for-man defense. Is Duke. Al Wood up over Vince Taylor. Now Jaminski's got it down.
He's done great in the rebound department.
Vince Taylor underhand. Foul, a beautiful play. Rich Janiker on the foul, and Vince Taylor, one of the prettiest plays of the game.
Well, he's going to be a guy that's going to go to the foul line an awful lot when he gets playing time. Here's that rebound by Jaminski. Boy, he snatched that one off. Looks up court. Everybody's moving.
That was a good move. He great hesitation Taylor has.
Could be a 3-point play for him. He's already scored 6 points.
Duke needed that. North Carolina pulling away a little bit here in the second half.
37-30. The lead is still 7. Full court pressure.
And Jaminski respects Wood and comes out on him. And rightfully so.
North Carolina not holding the ball tonight, but they're playing with a lot of deliberation. Yeah, this is Janiker on the outside.
You know, Michael Corrin didn't shoot that jumper very much this year, but I think it really makes him a tough guy to handle when he takes one every once in a while. He's got to keep you honest.
Spanarco will take the 18-footer. Jim Spanarco's 9th point of the game. 39-32. Duke's only lead was 2-0. North Carolina scored 8 straight points. They've been on top ever since. Now man for man. North Carolina looking for the back door. There goes O'Corn driving. It won't count as a charging foul on O'Corn. That's going to be 3 on the All-America forward for North Carolina.
He didn't have it. No, he didn't have it. A good play that time by Gene Banks.
Now there's timeout on the court. The score, North Carolina 39 and Duke 32.
Here we're going to see the passing. Ball goes on the inside. There was the play where Dudley Bradley really surprised Mike Jaminski because he didn't have an angle at all in the shot and took it. And hit it.
Duke's ball as play resumes. Last time these two met for the ACC final was 1969. North Carolina won it 85-74. Only the third time they've played in the ACC final. The other time was 1967, also won by North Carolina.
That's kind of surprising. You know, figured these guys have been up.
These two have had. Vince Taylor in a double team. Now there's Jaminski. Look at that time for Jaminski.
I think they set that at timeout. I think they said, let's get it to it.
39-34.
And also, that's a defense you're not going to see North Carolina use much. They just changed up. They won't be in that very often.
Taylor tries for a foul, leaves Wood open. Rebound. That was taken down by Johnny Harrell. Gene Banks, good man in motion. Banks.
Oh, he had too much going for him in momentum.
He didn't make up his mind that whether he's going to use the board or just plain hoop.
5-point lead by North Carolina. Yanniker was hot first half. Vince Taylor has it for Duke.
I'm sure Dean Smith didn't like either one of those shot selections coming down. The team kind of letting it get away a little bit. There's Jaminski again.
There he goes. And the ball is blocked away, but a foul by Cole Scott. And that'll be Cole Scott's third.
That was a smart move by Cole Scott. He didn't want to give Jaminski an easy one.
Plus the fact there might have been a slam dunk, which could have been a big psychological thing.
Yeah, Jaminski probably pushing off a little bit on Yanniker. There's Cole Scott coming through. Always good to try to keep that big guy off track.
Jaminski is 5 for 6 at the line. Well, let's see, 4 for 4 at the line. He's second in the Atlantic Coast Conference in scoring, by the way, behind Jeff Lamp, his sensational sophomore at Virginia. Jaminski averaging 18.9 coming to tonight, but he's held only 8 points so far. Jet Doughton now in for Cole Scott.
North Carolina getting a little foul trouble here. Denard has got 3 for Duke, but they've got Cole Scott as a key player, and O'Corn and Wood all with some foul trouble.
Oh, those nights by Jaminski.
Had a chance to draw it on down there again. Down to 4, could have been to 3.
39-35.
Having a quiet rally here. Good pass.
Now Wood sees Jaminski and decides better.
1-3-1 trap here.
Now Wood feeding to Budko.
Good defense.
Now by Harrell, comes out of there, gets it to Banks. That's taken away by Bradley. It's actually a bad pass by Banks. Bradley picked up a loose ball.
That's twice that Gene Banks drove the lane, really predetermined to move.
Ball is kicked out by Bradley. And it's going to go to Duke at backcourt. Duke is easing back in the picture here. You said it, Bill. It's been a quiet rally.
Dean Smith, look at Dean. He's going to hit it right off his foot. And I'll tell you, you don't want to have to make a mistake when you're a referee right in front of the coach's face. You know, that's a tough one.
He's hot. He's still steaming a little bit.
I think if his team comes down court again and doesn't get into an offensive pattern, you see Dean Smith call a timeout. They've kind of let things get away from him on offense. Back to the zone. There's Jaminski.
There's the line for Jaminski, and the foul is on Wolf. Second foul on Wolf. And that's 4-5 team fouls against North Carolina in the second half. A push. Might have been a good foul, too.
Jaminski's been asking for the lob here. Wolf can do as good a job as anybody in North Carolina's team going up with him, but a good pass and excellent catch. I think Duke's going to really look for the big fella there. That's what's going to be tough for North Carolina, but they've lost it on offense, not on defense. Here he goes again.
Yep, there he is. Jaminski inside. Out of bounds. That's to cut it to 1. Jaminski's entering the picture now in a big way. Basket's going to be good. The second by Jaminski in the last few minutes. No doubt Dean Smith, who when you watch him over those is concerned, and no doubt Bill Foster is a little relieved.
Well, here it is. This is just thrown up in the stratosphere here. He just goes way up to get this one. I think Dean Smith going to have to go back with his main troops. Oh, pushed by Vince Taylor.
Taylor got a foul to tie it.
He pushed off. Can't believe North Carolina not calling a timeout.
Score is tied for the first time since the early minutes. Al Wood the other end. And the rebound comes back to Jed Doughton. A break for the Tar Heels. 13:28 to go in the game, and we're suddenly tied.
Half-court foul.
And a foul on Spanarkel is second. 3 fouls in the second half against Duke, 2 against Spanarkel on the game.
Dean's going to have to be careful. He's been pretty consistent with the referees. He's got on all of them.
He may be waiting for a TV timeout.
13 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the game. This is for the championship of the ACC, and it's tied right now at 39. North Carolina led by 10 points at one time.
O'Corin's back in there with Wood.
Wood driving.
That's gone.
Good on a foul. 4 fouls on Bernard, and Al Wood comes through with a crucial basket for North Carolina.
You got to pay more attention to a man that can shoot as good as Wood can shoot. You've got to.
Well, Kenny Denard really made a defensive mistake. Not only the fact that Wood's a good shooter, but there's no sense reaching in. You better square up to a man like this. Here he comes. Oh, he pulled his hand back. If it was a touch, it was with the fingers.
3-point play by Wood, and North Carolina surges back to the lead. They have not surrendered the lead, although Duke did pull even. Johnny Harrell, number 22, a junior from Durham, North Carolina, returns for Duke.
That Al Wood really gives a dimension to that North Carolina team. That outside shot, he was had to sit down a long time in that first half, but he's something out there.
There goes Jaminski on the hook.
That's
Boy, that's close, man.
not a good shot.
No, he can shoot it from there, but that wasn't a good time to take it.
Dudley Bradley now. North Carolina exploding back now after Duke pulled even. 5 straight points to go ahead 44-39.
That's where they missed Bender, because he would have taken that shot, but the rebound by Wood.
Now it's going to be Bill Foster's turn to take a timeout, get his team settled back. They made the comeback, let it get away from them.
Here's North Carolina, a chance to go back to a 7-point lead. They've scored the last 5 points.
Man-to-man defense. You have all the first-teamers getting ready to come back into the ball game for North Carolina.
They got Wood posted low and Taylor spinning.
He walked.
Yep. Basket's not going to count. A traveling violation turns it over, so Duke gets the ball back on that break. Now you see Foster's concern. What a job he's done at Duke. He brought them from last place all the way to the national championship final game last year against Kentucky. They were last the year before in the ACC.
Look at that first step. Vince Taylor's lightning.
Got to get rid of it.
Yeah, Banks wanted that turnaround jumper. Still wants it.
Yep. And he lost to that.
He telegraphed the fact that he wanted the shot.
Banks cut off at the baseline nicely by O'Corn.
He's so successful with that yesterday.
11:47 to go in the game. There's timeout on the court. The score now, North Carolina 44 and Duke 39. The ACC tournament program can be purchased by mail for $2 plus 50 cents for postage and handling. Send a check or money order for $2.50 to ACC Tournament Program, Post Office Box 5997, Raleigh, North Carolina, zip code 27650. There's a limited number available for mail order, and please allow 2 to 3 weeks for delivery. Well, North Carolina's taken the command right back after losing a 10-point lead. They've come back on top by 5 and whipped the ball.
And with a rested first 5, I think that's a real key. Dean Smith took the calculated gamble, was able to rest his team for about 4 or 5 minutes, lost the lead, but now he's got him back in there against the man-to-man.
And Al Wood.
Big block.
There's Jaminski. Spanarkel on the quick stop jump.
He loves that shot, I think, as well as any shot he has.
44-41. There's the score on the bottom of your screen.
That was a great block by Vince Taylor before against Al Wood, because Wood had position.
And there goes Taylor again for a block, and this time he fouls.
Good call.
That's Taylor's second personal foul. Team foul, number 5 against Duke in the second half. North Carolina's also, well, they've committed 6. Dean Smith signaling from the side. The Kansan is now in his 18th year as head coach at North Carolina. And the triangle, it is Yannick in the middle.
Boy, he's had a great night shooting. He's taken the good shot in his range and hit. Has he missed anything, Jim?
I don't recall.
I can't remember him missing a shot.
Yes, he has missed
41. Yannick was 4 for 6. He's missed 2. Spinacle off. And there's Al Wood, and then Vince Taylor moves in to bat the ball away, stopping the break at least. North Carolina, though, will come back on the attack up by 5 at 46-41. There's the intensity on the Duke bench shows in the face of Bill Foster.
10 minutes to go. 10:30.
Al Wood on the inside. Wood is fouled by Taylor.
You see what they're doing? They're taking Al Wood and putting him down in the low post, setting him up one-on-one with Taylor, who's maybe a little bit smaller, having a hard time guarding the postman. 1 inch shorter. He's listed Wood at 6'6", Taylor 6'5". But Taylor is a swing player, and Wood is a straight forward. And Denard's coming back in. Dean Smith said, hey, he was in the act of shooting right here. Here's Al Wood going up. Oh, I think he was in the act of shooting also. Officials must have ruled he was trying to pass the ball back in bounds. Duke now is back in a zone. And Denard in the ball game. He's got 4 on him. Trying to get some defensive help. A 4th meeting of these two teams this year. Duke's won twice. North Carolina's won once. Not as even as you can get.
You can see they can bounce that ball in to Dudley Bradley.
And if they do, Dudley Bradley's going to have his eye on Yannick.
That's right along the baseline.
Now Bradley comes to the outside, and O'Corin goes in.
A little fake will move that defense so you can hit the middle.
Foul on Spinarco reaching in. Oh, the patience paid off for North Carolina. Jim Spinarco's 3rd foul. Now we go to the bonus. That's the 7th team foul. It'll be Al Wood at the line. Excellent shooter. Hitting 58% from the field, which is leading figure in the Atlantic Coast Conference. That's some kind of figure. And you take consideration where he shoots the ball and how many big shots he takes for his team. Rebound, Zeminski. Oh, a dangerous pass. Certainly was. O'Corin, eyelash of picking that one. O'Corin has that anticipation. As Gene Banks going to work. Banks faked toward the baseline and came back to his right. 46-43. You know, Gene Banks has known nothing but championships in his career, and those kind of guys, a lot of time in the big game, will really come through. Back to man for man is Duke. You notice Yannicker's taking Zeminski away from the basket out there. Way outside. By hitting a couple of those jump shots, he's keeping him honest.
I wouldn't play too close unless he had the ball.
And Zeminski clears it again. Denard looking back. 3-on-1. Lob to Wood. Dudley Bradley was hiding down there. He was anticipating that pass, wasn't he, Bo?
That's right, and that's 5 interceptions he's made.
And 93 on the season. 48-43. It puts North Carolina back in a breathing spot. The lob to Zeminski inside. Bradley blocks it. And he fouled it. Dudley Bradley's 3rd foul. Coming through the baseline, you can see Dean Smith bleeding, but of course that'll gain him nothing here. It's Bradley's 3rd foul, and Zeminski will go to the line with 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
How many times we've mentioned the guys that try to block those shots up and around the basket, if they keep their hands straight up instead of ripping that wrist down, they almost always call the foul on the activity of the hand as opposed to what it really does.
Just held it straight.
There's the previous play.
There's Cole Scott. Big rebound by Jaminski. Fires it out. Kenny Denard should have taken his ball a few more dribbles. There he is, hiding down in there.
Jaminski's really struggling at the line. He just missed again as you were watching that. Jaminski's now missed 3 of his last 4, his last 2 in a row. He's an excellent free throw. 48-44. Lead at 4 for North Carolina. Question now is when are they going to start spreading out to the 4 corners? That's always a concern. Any team playing against North Carolina.
Not right away, I don't believe.
They're doing part of it right now.
Semi. They're looking for it. They've gone to it, but I think they're going to go for a good shot.
Well, you know, they've run that 4 corners in a little different style this year.
O'Korn blocked by Jaminski, but the foul's going to be on Banks.
They lull you into thinking they're going to do it and then pull a trick on you.
Second foul on Eugene Banks of Duke. And it'll be Mike O'Korn at the line when we come back with 7:50 to go. There's timeout on the court. The score, North Carolina 48, Duke 44.
They're going to see O'Korn. That's a semi-4 corners they've got. O'Korn taking it to the hoop, takes it in there well. Boy, he gets racked by Banks. But look at him concentrate, Jim. There he is, looking right back up at the basket, even getting ripped by a forearm there. Quite a competitor.
Yeah, it's a talented player. A high school teammate of Jim Spinarkle's. Always interesting when they play against each other. They played for the Hudson Catholic School in Jersey City. Must have been some team.
But here they are. Bill Foster got the timeout he needed right there to say, okay, fellas, looks like the die is cast. If he hits this one, North Carolina's going to spread us out. Therefore, they're going to have to really play man-to-man, play hard, and play solid.
Last night, North Carolina had a remarkable line at the free throw line, hitting 22 out of 23 shots in their victory over Maryland. O'Korn now with 2 shots.
I didn't realize it. He only has 6 points so far.
Now let's see if he makes the next one with a swish. He weaves that one in.
That's got the lead up to 5. 6.
It's called the McKinney theory.
Like Murphy's Law, right?
No, don't say that.
Difference between the law and the theory now.
They're going with Jaminski.
Denard was wide open. And of course, the zone helps occupy that clock a little bit. North Carolina playing a smart game here.
Really looking for a good shot. And there's Jaminski.
That's a good pass by
Monarch always keeps his eye open for the open man. 50-46. The lead still 4. They're spreading again.
They're spreading the score, though, I believe.
Now, Duke is really not playing a man-to-man. They're trying to trap a little bit. They'll have to play man-to-man against this, so North Carolina going to throw that ball around cross court. There it goes.
Yeah, but you remember last night, North Carolina State did this against Duke, dropped back.
But there's a lot of time. There's Wolf all alone.
Yep, and Wolf is fouled.
That's all.
Denard is out of the game. Kenny Denard's 5th personal foul. Now you can see the helpless expression on his face, but that's it. Denard is out. Only 2 points tonight. Scored early in the game. And the lead was 6 minutes and 45 seconds to go. The loss of Bob Bender earlier now has reduced Duke to 3 starting players from its normal lineup. Out goes Kenny Denard, 6'7", sophomore forward, averaging over 6.5 points a game from King, North Carolina. So Denard will have to be replaced by Johnny Harrell. They'll lose a lot of size here. Harrell's only 6 foot. 6 foot junior.
But it might help them in this respect, since it's going to be a spread out type game anyway. They're better off with maybe some quickness than they'd match up outside.
That's true, because the rebounding force for Duke in this situation is basically Jaminski and Banks. Rebound by Jaminski. Now Duke's got a chance to pull within 2. It's going to be a big possession here for Duke.
I'd go to Jaminski.
They go to Spinarco, the key, the clutch man, comes back outside, tipped by North Carolina. So Duke will have another chance to set it up here, trailing by 4 points. Rich Yoniker reports back in for Wolf at center, and Yoniker's having a big night. 50-46. That's the North Carolina lead.
There, Al Wood is watching Jaminski all the way, saying we're not going to get that lob again.
It's got to be Spinarco, Banks, and Jaminski.
There goes Banks. Rebounds taken away by Yoniker. Just came off the bench press.
Well, he's having a good game.
Oh, Duke had 2 shots at cutting the lead to 2, and North Carolina's going to spread it out again to 4 points. Oh, there are the teammates again. It's each other from Jersey City. Spinarco and O'Corn. Spinarco now guarding Mike.
Now here's where Jaminski has a tough decision to make. He's on Yoniker. He's got to go out and play him, or North Carolina is going to realize there's always an open passing area. Little cat and mouse by Bradley.
Yeah, they always have the threat of the back door when the man breaks to the middle. If he can beat this man, they really got the advantage in this particular offense.
In the game that, last Saturday when they played, Duke kept inching out and made Carolina make some mistakes. Now I'd like to see what they're going to do now.
O'Corn didn't walk in that play.
No.
Little juggling act.
I'd use Yoniker more because Jaminski just isn't out there.
Yeah, he's got to go out and get him.
Right back to him. That's exactly what I'd do.
There he is, wide open.
Bradley wide open for the dunk.
He was that way about twice, and they didn't see him. They should have raised his hand.
Leads up to 6 now, 52-46. 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go.
They're looking for Jaminski so much inside.
Harrell, a clutch basket for Harrell. The replacement for Bob Bender in tonight's lineup for Duke. 52-48. Back to 4. They'll keep an eye on the clock. 4:35 remaining.
Here's man-to-man now, a little different. Going to double team when they can, but they're playing straight up man-to-man now as opposed to that half-court zone trap.
Jaminski on Wood.
Well, I think that just happened by accident.
Al Wood on the block and a foul by Banks. Well, Banks fouled a hot shooter in Al Wood.
They're working this 4 corners now to perfection because Duke simply is not playing it right.
This will put a Wood on the line. He scored 9 points so far. Watch the play again.
That's good team ball handling right here. Wood feels he has it. Nothing for Banks to do but go up and try to get that ball, but he hit with the body.
Okay, 2 shots to Wood.
Oh, you got to make those. They're precious.
Here you see Yoniker wide open. Jaminski really not, he's between the river and the deep blue sea right there, and not guarding Yoniker, and yet not back to help out either.
Wood will try to get the lead up to 5. 53-48.
North Carolina stays in the zone. 1-3-1. But they really know where they're matching up back there to try to help out on Jaminski.
There's Banks, little fake on the inside.
Oh, me.
Gene Banks cuts the lead back to 3, 53-50. Now 4 minutes to go in the game.
Surprised they're not picking up full court. Here's Bill Foster saying, get back up here. Valuable time going by on that clock.
Really an interesting matchup. Spinarco guarding O'Corn.
He's
Right through Yoniker's hands.
I don't think he expected it.
Now Duke can cut the lead to 1 with a basket. And with 3:42 to go, there's timeout on the court. The score, North Carolina 53 and Duke 50.
There we're going to see that pass. Dudley Bradley, he had a pretty long time to throw that ball on across there. Rich Yoniker should have caught that ball. Well, it's one thing if you're breaking to the basket or you kind of unexpected it, but that ball was thrown about 25 feet. You ought to be able to grab the handle by then. Hey, Jim, I've been watching the game, as we all have, I'm sure, but I've also been watching the student bodies sections from Duke and North Carolina. They're butted right up against each other. And, you know, this is really an intense rivalry, particularly at that age. But I'd like to compliment them because they've been rooting for the game. They've stayed off each other's backs, and the only thing separating them is the walkway. I thought we were going to see chaos going over there.
Yeah, I did
they
too.
really are to be complimented. Super cheering.
Billy, I thought they fought more yesterday than they have today.
Yeah, they did when the other teams were
Just
playing.
in anticipation. North Carolina's picking up full court. They're going to contest Duke here.
You know, this is kind of Dean Smith's philosophy. When you think they'd be back playing passively, that's when they come out and attack you defensively. Spanarkel open.
Yep, there he goes. Spanarkel inside and foul. Early on Yoniker. Only the second foul on Rich Yoniker. But look to Jim Spanarkel to make the big play or the attempt for it.
He was wide open over there for the jumper. Breaks on the baseline.
I thought he'd take that jumper.
Yeah, he goes up. Yoniker fouled him. Wood just holding his hands up.
Good jump stop by Spanarkel and a good protection as he went up.
It's just as well that he got the foul because Jaminsky had it and he would have mashed it.
11 points tonight for Spanarkel. What do you think of all the career records he's going to have when he leaves Duke University? This is his last year. He gets two. Already scoring in steals, in free throws, and he's closed well in assists. He's broken that record tonight. 1 point lead.
Full court press.
Yep.
Here's where that switch that they made defensively without Kenny Denard in the game probably helps them match up a little bit better.
Now the back door, and Cole Scott's cut off by Banks.
Boy, only his quickness enabled him not to have the walk-in violation.
Foul is called on Harrell as they double team on Scott. Cole Scott.
Well, that's the thing I've said so many times. They should not try to steal the ball from that man. Just simply get a 5-second jump ball or get him, make him throw a bad shot, bad pass.
Here's Cole Scott coming out. They surround him. And Jimmy Spanarkel did foul him. Yeah. He did foul. He wanted a 5-second, but he did foul him.
And he's the best free thrower on the North Carolina team. Percentage-wise, at least 87% he's hitting this year. 4 out of 5 tonight. Lead back to 3.
3 minutes to go.
Almost the same kind of ball game we saw last night between North Carolina State and
there's some.
Taylor's quickness got him out of trouble.
Gene Banks spinning. That's the best shot. Look at that rebound. Bad shot. Rebound by O'Connor.
You can't afford to give away a possession at this time in the game.
Now North Carolina gets it now with the 3-point lead, so a little more breathing room. Back to the 4-corner spread.
Pretty good man-to-man matchup situation.
there's where the advantage is. Yoniker over Jaminsky.
Dudley Bradley drives. Foul on the play. Basket is good. Big play by Bradley. What a second half he's having.
They lull him to sleep and then take that drive along the baseline.
Well, you know, Dudley Bradley, and I've been surprised watching this 4 corners. Duke is kind of playing as if he doesn't exist out there. Now, it's one thing for Jaminsky, but Gene Banks has been trying to help out so much. Bradley's too good a ball player to let all alone. Here's the case. Banks made the mistake of going out and attacking him and leaving the baseline side wide open.
Never give him the baseline. Not anyone.
That's the 4th foul on Eugene Banks. 3-point play possibility for Dudley Bradley. And that could be a very, very big play. North Carolina now open up breathing room. 58-52 with 2:13 to go. Spanarkel changing direction, drops it to Kaminsky. There'll be no basket. There was a foul first. Personal foul against North Carolina's Al Wood. Picks up his 4th. He's played a long time with those 3.
Here we see the drive we talked about. Oh, Bradley almost coming through again. Here Jimmy Spanarkel shows him he can go left. Good drop in inside. Jaminsky gets fouled before the catch.
Good smart move on Spanarkel's part, trying to get the ball to Jaminsky because he could have dunked it.
Jaminsky's been struggling a little the free throw line in the second half. He's only 2 out of 5. Gets the bonus here.
Now he said, that took me off the hook.
Trying to get the lead back to 4. 58-54. good short hop
It sure
catch.
was.
And a nice bounce over to Bradley. A good decision. We're inside the 2-minute mark, and North Carolina's leading by 4.
Here's Yoniker wide open. O'Koren challenging everybody. All he had to do is give it to Yoniker.
Dudley Bradley beats his man for a punt. What a game for Dudley Bradley.
Beat Jaminsky. Jaminsky was guarding him.
60-54. Bradley's 13th point of this half.
Well, he's been Superman out there.
There goes Banks driving, gets the short jumper.
Duke calls the time.
There's the first timeout call by Duke, so they got 4 left. There's timeout on the court for the score. North Carolina 60, Duke 56.
Here's Dudley Bradley. Of course, a real advantage here. Mike Jaminsky not used to taking a man that far away from the basket, and Duke is kind of falling asleep a little bit on Bradley, Bones.
Bradley, no way Jaminsky could guard Bradley, and as you saw there on that play, he could have pulled out. There was a man on the other side. He could have bounced past it in case someone dropped back in there, but there's no way Jaminsky can guard Bradley.
I'd point out also, Jim and Bones, that you might give Dean Smith a little credit for that basket, because what he did, he put Yoniker all the way out of the guard position, and Duke made the switch, moving Jaminsky's normal guarding situation, and they switched places, so that left Jaminsky with a much quicker man.
Then you got to have someone to help him out on the other side, and they didn't do it.
All right, 1:21 to go. Duke called his first timeout, so now you can expect the Blue Devils to stop the clock. And there's a foul against Vince Taylor. Taylor picks up his 4th foul. This will send Dudley Bradley to the line for the 1-and-1.
Dudley Bradley get fouled. Taylor trying to grab him. You just pointed out Duke used their first timeout. North Carolina hasn't had any yet tonight. Have they, Jim?
Yep. 1-and-1 to Bradley. Only a 60% shooter on the year, but he's 2 for 2 tonight. Laid back to 5.
He pulled away from the line a little quick.
Looked like he wanted to get back on defense pretty quick.
And it's man-to-man.
Gene Banks sees Vince Taylor. Oh, what quickness he has. Vince Taylor.
Hey, that was beautiful.
Boy, like a will-o'-the-wisp he is. And Duke's going to call timeout. Duke stops the clock this time with 1:02 to go. And since the land about 19 seconds, they picked up 1 point. Now there's timeout on the court. The score: North Carolina is 61 and Duke 58.
Here we go. Gene Banks drives to the middle, head down, sees Taylor. Now watch this blazing quickness, and there wasn't a walk on that move either. That is a brilliant move.
Freshman from Lexington, Kentucky. Now Duke is back within 3, 61-58. North Carolina will have the ball and the lead, and we'd like to take this opportunity to thank head basketball coach Bill Foster and his staff, and sports information director Tom Mickle from Duke University for their help in tonight's telecast. And from the University of North Carolina, our thanks to the head basketball coach Dean Smith and his staff, and sports information director Rick Brewer. Our thanks also to our stage manager Bob Royster. Foul on the play against Steve Gray. Now Gray is sent in the game, has no personal fouls, and if they are forced to, Duke is, to stop the clock, they may use him to foul because he's just been taken out and Vince Taylor's back in, and that play took exactly 2 seconds. Back O'Koren goes to the line. O'Koren 2 for 2 tonight with 8 points. Coming. A free throwing will be very crucial for North Carolina here in the final minutes. This second half, they've hit 11 out of 12 out of 14. They tip it back outside to North Carolina. Tar Heels get 1 point and get back the ball.
You'd rather have the ball than to have the point.
Foul and foul. This was on Spanarkel, I think, will be his 4th. Number 4 on Jim Spanarkel. That'll put O'Koren right back to the line. So he's up a moment ago, 1-and-1, hit the front end and then missed the bonus, but North Carolina retained possession.
That was Al Wood on the tap back.
And they get 3 points out of it. And a unusual way. .64.58, the lead back to 6. Vince Taylor's speed. And Dudley Bradley thought for a moment.
So did Taylor. He almost lost his breath on that one.
Look at O'Connor. He said, look, the referee said we're going to go that way. Can you imagine that?
Well, here's Taylor realizing the clock's against him. Hits out. Jaminski gets fouled on the inside. Took him a long time to be able to get that ball into him tonight, didn't it, Bones?
Oh, North Carolina has done a great job so far as playing defense against Jaminski.
Third foul on Rich Yanniker. Jaminski will go to the line.
Gray's back in for the purpose of foul.
2 shots now to Mike Jaminski. Well, talking about North Carolina's free throws being crucial, more so for Duke. 44 seconds to go on a 6-point lead. Jaminski has this one to get it back to 4. Now he seems to have regained his rhythm a little bit. Might have tried to miss that one. Oh, okay. Lost out there, and they closed that one for the ball.
Jaminski just hasn't had it. It's just one of those things that comes sometime at a bad time, and this has come for him.
44 seconds to go. We got to be thinking about our outstanding players. One from each team. Vince Taylor gets in the crowd, picks up a shot and draws the foul. Well, he came close to having
that could have been a big three-pointer there.
Yeah, Rich Yanniker on the foul. Well, tonight brings us to the end of another season of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball telecast, and we certainly have enjoyed bringing you all this exciting basketball action this year. And we want to extend our thanks to our sponsors and our advertising agencies, all the stations around the ACC television network, and you viewers who make it all possible. 2 shots to Vince Taylor. Going to be some kind of great player before he's finished. His first year, he's already a solid star. 12 points tonight, filling in for Bob Bender.
This is a big possession for North Carolina right here. 36 seconds to go. They've got to occupy some clock.
And a foul's going to be on Taylor, fouling O'Corn. I think that'll be all for Taylor. They'll miss his quickness in the final seconds if there's to be any chance. 13 points for Taylor. He leads the game with 33 seconds to go.
Here we'll see the play. Taylor obviously trying to go for the ball. Reaches on in there. O'Corn did the right thing by using his body to go ahead and bounce that ball over. And the foul shots become crucial, as you pointed out, Jim.
Okay, O'Corn's at 5 out of 6, and the one he missed, North Carolina regained possession.
Nailed that one.
65-61. Every one of hits moving North Carolina a little closer to another ACC championship. 66-61. North Carolina has a 5-point lead, less than 30 seconds.
Great push
shot by Steve Gray.
That could be all she wrote.
A mistake here that might erase any last hopes. Now the 2 officials are conferring.
There, Gray actually gets his foot sliding out from underneath him when he hit Colescott. Then he pushes off with the arm.
Ball control foul. Well, Kentucky and Tennessee have gone to overtime in the Southeastern Conference Finals, tied 55-55 in regulation. Well, that's not much of a rivalry, you know.
We're not the only ones that have low scores, huh?
Now Gray has just fouled O'Corn again.
I think you have some low scores when you get in a situation that you're playing under so much pressure. Every possession so important.
That's exactly the reason.
Well, they keep challenging O'Corn. Well, a Holly Farm Scholarship Award, a $1,000 grant, will be presented to the outstanding players of the game from each team as chosen by the game announcers. And tonight, the outstanding players of the game are from North Carolina, Dudley Bradley. Just a sensational performance defensively and offensively. Let's watch O'Corn. He gets the bonus shot. 24 seconds to go. And for Duke University, Jim Spanarkel. As a senior and a record-shattering career for Duke. O'Corn again on the bonus. 68-61. 20 seconds to go. And that was stolen by Bradley.
play by Banks. And
O'Korn follows. And the game will go to North Carolina. 12 seconds to go. It's 68-61.
Boy, somebody threw a whiskey bottle or something down on the floor from the crowd. Can you imagine that?
That's incredible.
Oh, they got to get to whoever that was.
Watch the play here.
Somebody's going to pick him out.
Boy, they better get him and throw it. There's the play. Gene Banks going right up there. Oh, and there's O'Korn coming through, and they sense that victory now.
Now the hug over there on the sidelines of Dean Smith. I think this is Bill Guthridge.
Well, of course, the reason that they're over in the sidelines now and there's no action on the court is they're cleaning up the debris.
Well, there's our MVP. Still 12 seconds have to be played in the game. North Carolina sensing now they put it out of reach. You got a feeling maybe these two may meet again, which would be a 5th time in 1 year.
Well, I think tomorrow afternoon is one of the most exciting times for the people that are really into college basketball to sit around at home and find out who got selected, what the pairings look like, and know about some teams that we haven't seen, teams like DePaul and Dayton that really have good clubs that are going to be the national playoffs.
All right, while they clear up the floor here, we've still got 12 seconds to go. We'll be back in just a moment after this message. Let's go. 70-61. Well, there's our assistant commissioner. He's wearing one of his more subdued costumes tonight.
Yeah, but Skeeter's all business. You know, he's out there. You don't see Skeeter except when you really need him for something, and he's out there now cleaning things up, getting this tournament rolling, and nobody knows how to do it any better than he does. Because he's had a lot of practice.
That's true.
He'll have charge of the Eastern Regionals here at the Greensboro Coliseum. Does a great job, and he'll go all the way to the Nationals, I'm sure.
Well, I hope they've got that fella, carted him out, and make sure, yeah, he's done everything else tonight. He might as well go ahead and help clean up the floor. I got to go for him, Jim, for not only MVP in the game, but I think this game he should be the tourney's MVP.
He may be. That's quite a coveted award, most valuable player of the tournament. And it's based on the play. It doesn't usually, or doesn't often go, at least, to the MVP of the entire season. Some player, remember, John Kuster got hot 1 year, won the MVP. And the years David Thompson played at State, he never won the tournament MVP award. Hard to believe.
You know, another thing that might be somewhat ironic, North Carolina has come to this tournament championship with injured players over the last few years, and this year it turns out that the other team, this is one of the first healthy teams they brought to the tournament.
There's another guy who may be the MVP, Mike O'Korn. He's just played superbly in both games. 71-61, 8 was the biggest lead. There goes Johnny Hill to Jaminski for a dunk. That might close it out. Now Duke's going to kill the clock.
No, O'Korn's got the ball. I can't believe the referee didn't realize it. O'Korn had the ball.
And time runs out. It's an 8-point victory for North Carolina. Tar Heels are celebrating now their victory in the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. They have defeated Duke University by 8 points, advancing now to NCAA play for sure to represent the ACC. Whether it'll be the Eastern Regional or the Mid-East Regional will have to be decided by the NCAA committee. Many believe it'll be in the NCAA East, but under the new rules this year, that'll have to wait and see. Looking into the huddle, look at O'Korn. O'Korn right in the middle of things, and he wants to get down the nets. I think Dean Smith had this team prepared so well, Bones, when they came into the tournament. The bye perhaps was a little bit of assistance, but they just played their peak of the year.
Jim, I thought last night's game was the best game I've ever seen a North Carolina team play, and tonight was just as well played. I'm with you. I believe that Dean had them prepared. I believe the situation that they were in when Dudley Bradley drove on Jaminski, I know that was a planned situation. I know that it was planned that they might lull them to sleep, thinking they were going to stay in that four corners when they were certainly not going to do that. They were going to look for a good shot, try to get them a little bit sleep, and then just pour it on, and that's what they did.
All right, here they go to the other end, led by O'Korn. Well, he's their leader, all right. Mike O'Korn.
Jim, that's a great thrill to go be involved in.
Well, a great deal of self-satisfaction, I think, for young Mike O'Korn, Bones, because he did not get a berth on the All-ACC first 5. a spot that many thought was just destined for him even before the season began. He had times through the year, maybe because of injury or not, he perhaps didn't perform right up to his peak. But he certainly played well here in this tournament. He's going to be a leading candidate for the tournament's MVP. And as Billy said, Dudley Bradley has to be given some consideration also.
One of the two of them should get it, Jim. I feel sure of that. I know it's a sad situation for Duke, but I believe they'll be in the NCAA. I don't think there's any question about that. And for Jaminsky, I know he's a sad young man, but he need not be. He's had a great year, and Duke's had a great year, so they have a lot to look forward to. I know North Carolina certainly happy now, and Duke's certainly sad.
Well, Bones, they've played 4 times. Each team has won twice. Duke's total margin adds up to 17 points. North Carolina's total margin adds up to 15 points. Well, you can't get much closer than that.
No, I think if they have a chance to play a game, if they do play a game, Jim, that's going to be a record.
Well, that would be, of course, in the NCAAs, no doubt. And I think there's a good chance for that. There's a possibility that both will wind up in the same region. Under the new regulation of the NCAA, they cannot go west of the Mississippi. In other words, they cannot go to either the West or the Midwest, because the NCAA now has regulated that no 2 teams from any conference can ever possibly meet in the NCAA final. So they're going to stay here in the East or Mid-East, and there is that chance. There are a lot of other great teams around. Syracuse was upset today by Georgetown, so there are a couple of teams right there no doubt's going to be in the NCAA. And the Big Ten, of course, loaded with had such a sensational finish. Kentucky and Tennessee fighting in the finals of the SEC. They're going to put a good team in the NCAA. So a lot of great ball clubs. Notre Dame at the top of that list, along with Marquette. All those teams could possibly be playing here in the East or Mid-East.
You know, Jim, I believe after they cut the net, they may take a acetylene torch and take that basket down there. Might as well, they pulled on it enough.
Well, it's a happy moment here for the University of North Carolina. Last year, it was Duke University that won it all as kind of a Cinderella team. They didn't take the regular season. North Carolina did that last year, but Duke won the tournament. And Duke, after a couple of close calls, especially with Rhode Island, went through the Eastern Regional and went all the way to the NCAA final. We're going to see some scores. Oklahoma defeated Kansas today. That may be the first Big 8 tournament they ever won. Halftime here, Virginia Tech. Charlie Moyer's team leading Florida State, coached by Joe Williams, 33-31. A close game there for the Metro. Arkansas and Texas fighting for the Southwest Bones. That's going to be a great rivalry there. And, of course, you know, Abe Lemon's having a ball with that. Minnesota over Michigan, 78-69. That's an insignificant game, however, in the Big Ten. The heavyweights of the Big Ten played this afternoon. Now you see Billy Packer has Dean Smith down on the floor, so let's go down to Billy.
How you gonna call him, man?
We're on right now, Dean, and I don't know how you could do it any better. That game last night was incredible, and the way the guys performed tonight was just out of sight.
I thought we played very well. We missed some layups early, but Duke's a great basketball team. They're really a great rebounding team, and I just was so proud of all of our players. I thought they all did it well.
You know, just about, what was it, a week ago, everybody questioning that strategy in that particular game, and then the way you played out here tonight. Of course, I think that you always have your club well prepared to play, know what you're going to do all the time, and your guys executed, I think, in this tournament better than any team I might have ever seen in this
Well, I thought they did, and of course, if we hadn't had last Saturday, this would have been harder to do.
No question.
And there's the, I think, MVP, either Bradley or Foreign. They just were tremendous.
I think Dudley Bradley in tonight's game was just absolutely unbelievable. Of course, he's been great all year long.
He really has, and hasn't gotten the attention for it, so he sure came through, I thought.
Well, he has, and I think all your kids...
You know, over here to talk.
How about Richie Yoniker, the way he played tonight? I thought he's the guy that broke it open and made Jaminsky have a tough night.
You're right, Billy, because we had to have the outside shot from our big man, because Jaminsky never leaves underneath the basket, and Chick made those shots, and of course, anytime you win a great basketball tournament, a great basketball game, it's all the players that played. Colescott, I thought, just had a tremendous tournament.
We'll let you get back over with your team. We want to cover some of these guys. Congratulations.
All right. There's the North Carolina team. Here's Mike O'Korn coming out to receive his individual award. No one's showing any more elation over this on the North Carolina team as far as we can see from up here. But Mike O'Korn.
He held that ball. That's the first time I've seen him without the basketball since the game was over with.
Well, he may have just deflated it and stuck it in his pants, Bones.
It's the best place to do.
Tell you, he put it in their ear tonight, didn't he? It was a
did.
great performance by O'Korn and Bradley. It was good a 1-2 punch. Zeminski couldn't get on track in the first half. He had an outstanding second half. So did Banks. Spanarkel was a leader throughout the tournament for Duke. And North Carolina just played flawlessly last night. Might have played just as well tonight. They were up against a team, but it was also playing well. Here comes Al Wood. He's really blossomed this year as a superstar, and Rich Yoniker off the bench, filling in a center spot for North Carolina.
How many seniors on that team, Jim?
Well, of course, the big one is going to be Dudley Bradley. They lose one of their leaders there in Dudley Bradley. Jed Doughton played a great deal this year. Randy Wills the other one. But I think Bradley's the big loss off the team. But they've already announced they've signed James Worthy, one of the great players in the country. 6'9" star from North Carolina's Gastonia, Ashford High School, and they signed Jimmy Braddock from Chattanooga, Tennessee, who's ranked as one of the top 3-point guards in the country.
Another great basketball team, and of course, all of the teams will have great basketball teams. You said to me one day, Jim, this is going to be the greatest recruiting year in the ACC. I believe you're right.
Well, I think it's not just the ACC, it's the whole country. The coaches tell me it's the greatest crop of college prospects. We got Bowie from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, Sampson from up in Virginia, and Horde, of course, is already signed in Kentucky, and we told you about James Worthy signed with the University of North Carolina, committed at least to the University of North Carolina, and it's like that way. Dominic Wilkins is just a devastating, spectacular player from Washington, North Carolina. Is going to go somewhere and might be the ACC.
I think it'll be the ACC. I think 4 teams in the ACC are in the running for him, but I think each one of them thinks they have him.
All right, there's the hail to the champions here. The victors are North Carolina this year, the Tar Heels, who come through to win another title in the ACC, and will be going on now to NCAA play. Expect here the bid to be issued shortly by Commissioner James, who no doubt will represent them.
I think they'll accept it, don't you, Jim?
Has anyone ever turned it down?
I waited one time when Duke upset me to see if Vic Bubas was going to reject it, but he didn't.
He didn't stay around.
No, he didn't stay around. You know, the sad part in those days, Jim, you didn't go anywhere but home.
Bradley has just been named the most valuable player of this tournament, and we're not surprised, Bones. We mentioned a moment ago that might go. Young man. Now, here's Skeeter Francis again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our awards program. We would like to thank you wonderful fans for again, and to the Greensboro Coliseum management, with the
Okay, of course, we've got the whole North Carolina team here, and let's go ahead first. What do we start off with, Dudley? Dudley, congratulations, MVP award. You've got it around your neck. So many fellas that have been outstanding in the league have won that award, but you did it all year long with great leadership qualities and defense. Super tournament.
I don't really think I deserve it all. Here's the guys that is ever case winners right there. That's all. I don't think I deserve all the credit. They've done it all. They helped me. They got a lot of pride in me. We just all did all as a team.
Let me ask you a question. First of all, about the defensively. There was a big play in the game where you were kind of hiding back on defense. Duke was getting some momentum, and they tried a long bounce pass on a fast break, and here you came out of nowhere. How in the world do you get yourself down there defensively to know something like that's coming?
Well, I didn't know it was coming. I just anticipated that Denard was going to pass the ball. Any good player would have passed the ball to a lead man. So I just anticipated and I went for the steal.
So you're thinking defensively just like you would be on offense, saying, hey, that's where he's supposed to move the ball.
Yes.
All right, now from an offensive standpoint, when you got down and saw you had yourself lined up with Jaminski, did you know all the way in the corner you were taking it to the hoop?
Well, when I took the first bounce, I didn't see anybody pick me up, so I knew I was going to dunk. But I didn't. That's all I knew. I knew I was going to dunk it. That's it.
Well, super year on your part. You guys got a big job ahead of you now, going on to NCAA playoffs. I know you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're really looking forward. We want to stay in this area. We're going over to NC State next week, and then we're going to do our thing.
Okay, we're going to come back with some of these guys. Just hang on right here. Jimmy, take it up, and we'll bring some more North Carolina players to you.
Yeah. Okay, Bill, and we'll be back in just a moment. But first, this message.
Fortunate to win. We played good down the stretch. This guy came up with one of the key steals. We had a pretty tough game last night against Maryland. I think the whole tournament was competitive, and I'm glad to win.
Okay, talking about last night's game, and of course the big story was tonight's championship win, but in last night's game, I want to know how much time you guys spent today with Randy Wheel, because that's about the only thing I think went wrong at all yesterday, is Randy might have missed a layup in there. So did you spend any time with him at all?
Randy's an amazing athlete. He showed you what he can do when he fell down and he kicked back up.
Yeah, I saw that play. We had it on replay.
If you sit down and talk with Randy, he did more things than any man I know.
Okay, out there tonight, you had to be aware of Mike Jaminski. Of course, he's such a factor in the game. You guys, last week, it even dictated maybe the style of play. How did you decide to go out there tonight and play him and keep him off track so much?
We didn't really want to concentrate on just one of their guys. In the zone we were playing, we wanted to, come back and let them try to take that, shot from the outside. Mike made, he's going to get his points. He's a great competitor, and that's how he plays. And to hold him down, you really don't hold the whole Duke team down. They got a lot of other guys. I guess they missed Benner tonight. Harrell hit a few jumpers. Jim Spinarco hit a few jumpers. And Banks played real well.
Talking about hitting a few jumpers, here comes Yannick, and we'll get to him in a minute. Another thing I want to ask you, on TV for a long time here, we've been talking about you and Jimmy Spinarco being teammates. I don't know if we've ever had a chance to ask you, but when you're out here competing against a guy like that who's had a great career, is there a little something extra?
We're great friends off the court, but when me and him get on the court, it's all business. I know he'll tell you that too. When we get on the court, we just want to win, and that's what the game's all about, it seems. Then we can go sit back. I know Jim, be disappointed just like we were disappointed last week. And, we'll shake it off and we'll be best friends again.
I'm sure that you will, Nicole. Also super competitors. You may meet those guys again before it's over with. They're going to be in the NCAA too, I'm sure. Here's a guy tonight, and I was on his back last year, taking some of those jump shots. But this, oh, come on now. You get your due right now, man. Okay. Well, maybe that, a lot of times people turn that around and say, yeah, that's the only reason you started making them. But I'm not going to take credit for that. Super shooting. And Rich, tonight, I thought that really set the tempo. And the fact that you hit the jumpers, and that made Jaminski have to come out and play.
Yeah, well, the crowd was on me even when I came out here just to shoot around before the game. And so, all they remember was last week taking one shot, and it was nothing but air. But it's a missed shot. It's just like a dunk is 2 points, the same as a jumper. So that's the way I looked at it, and just come out and keep knocking it in. And tonight I was getting open. Jaminski and Banks would stay inside trying to cover Dudley and Mike and Al, and so it was just open for me.
This transition that you've had, your jumper is really coming out. I mean, it's really become an important offensive weapon for your team. And as opposed to your team last year, I think that everybody's a little hesitant. With Phil out there, he created so much and everything happened. Guys were a little hesitant to take the jumper. This year, all of you guys look for it, take it. Al takes it all the time.
That seems to be the difference than it was last year.
I think so. It makes it tougher for you guys to be defense. Do you feel confident with that jumper?
Last year, if we were open from 15 and Phil was open from 22, we gave it to him because it was a better shot and we could go to the boards. But this year, everybody else is going to the boards, and it doesn't matter who's open. We're all taking the shot.
I'm sure he's taking a lot of pride in what you guys did tonight. He's having such a bad rookie year in the NBA.
Still, he called us last night, and he sent us a telegram, and he wanted us to play well. So we sent him a telegram back just not long ago and told him we're going to win.
Okay, best of luck. Super play on the part of all you fellas. Jimmy, take it back upstairs. I'm sure they want to get going.
All right, Bill, a happy bunch and a nice job down there in that celebration. This was the 8th ACC Tournament Championship by North Carolina. And Bones, they tie NC State now for 8 apiece. I think Duke's had 5. So we're going to take another look here at the final moments of the game. This one was decided by 8 points, but it was much closer than I think.
Oh, a much closer ball game. You see Dudley Bradley with the ball. Here's his drive now. He's going all the way, and he said just a minute ago he knew he was going to dunk after he took the first step. And, of course, he was fouled on that, I believe, Jim.
Well, Dudley had some great moments this year, particularly stealing in the North Carolina State game. That was one of the biggest plays of the year, I thought, after North Carolina had blown a 19-point lead and then lost the lead in the final seconds. He stole the ball and scored to win the ball game. And he made a lot of crucial steals. We told you he stole over 90 balls all year. But that play, this might have been his finest hour. I'm sure it will be as he looks back on it, because in his senior year, his last play here in the ACC area, in an ACC game at least,
right,
he's voted the MVP of the tournament.
All right, here's Yoniker taking the ball out of bounds, passed it into O'Corin and over to Yoniker. Yoniker gets it to Dudley Bradley, and there's where Taylor fouled him, and that, I think, was Taylor's 5th foul, I believe, wasn't it? Yes,
and that could have been the last chance. There's looking to the future, Bones, that number 12 is going to be a superstar in the future in this league. There's Dudley Bradley.
Watch him, he just slaps.
There's another
just
look.
Slapped him.
Reaching in.
Right on the honey.
Well, Dudley Bradley's free throwing. North Carolina did a great job of the line down the end.
Had to make them.
Bradley hit 2 out of 3. O'Corin did the best job in that respect when he hit 10 out of 11 in the second half. But just had a great performance. 18 points by O'Corin, incidentally, was the high for the game, but Bradley had 16. And you consider that Bradley averages only 9 on the year, and O'Corin's almost 15. So it's a great victory for Bradley. At that moment, it's a 5-point lead. North Carolina got it up to 10.
That's when Taylor made that beautiful move real quick. You talked about a few minutes. And Duke called timeout. They wanted to kill the clock.
I have said before, it reminds me a lot of Jerry West, the way he plays, because of his tremendous quickness. Final score again. I thought it was a great gesture, and all the excitement and all the moment of the elation and jubilation for the North Carolina team, for O'Corin or maybe Bradley, was to remember a point that Duke had to play without Bob Bender tonight.
They did. They certainly were fine about that, and I think Bradley was great in saying that he didn't deserve that award by himself. He didn't get it by himself, that he had so many teammates that had so much confidence in him, and the fact that they played an important part in his getting the award.
The 3 big guns for Duke also were in double figures in the ball game. Jaminsky with 19 points was the leading scorer on the contest, even though he struggled a little bit early, as we reported to you. Jim Spinarkel had 13, and Eugene Banks scored 12. But it was a big game for Vince Taylor. The young freshman scored 13 points in the ball game, but it wasn't enough, as North Carolina comes through to win its ACC tournament victory number 8, tying an all-time mark that was first set by North Carolina State. But the Tar Heels now tie for the regular season with Duke, and we'll remind you again how close these two teams have been, and I don't think it's over, Bones. I think it's going to carry on into the NCAA, quite possibly both of them going to the East Regional.
I think that's true. I think I wouldn't bet on it, because, you know, I'm not a gambling man, Jim. But I do believe that some people will think that Duke will have a difficult time getting back up again. That's not true. They know they're in the NCAA, and somebody had to lose tonight. I know they didn't want to, but I want to impress on the folks that are listening and watching that Monday will be another day. I'm sure he'll give them tomorrow off, but they'll get ready again, and they want to prove something. They'll try to come back. And as far as North Carolina is concerned, they're on cloud 9 right now, and it'll take a couple of days to get back to their feet, but they'll do a great job too, and I expect them to meet in the Eastern Region.
You know, he's talking about proving something. I think it probably proved a point for Dean Smith, because, to be honest about it, he had taken a little bit of abuse over holding the ball a week ago and actually manufacturing a 7-0 halftime score, which is kind of embarrassing for a lot of people, and North Carolina players not to be accepted. But they came back, played a tremendous second half. Here tonight, they came out and played basketball from the very outset, and a lot of people had been wondering how the game was going to be played rather than who was going to win.
Well, you know, I thought it was going to be played just about like it was played, like the game between State and Duke last night. Now, I think he did a real good job when he went to the four corners. It was a 2-1-2, really, because he had a man in the middle most of the time. But you can change that four corners into many things. Anyway, they did a real good job of lulling Duke just a little bit, trying to fight for it, and finally, if you notice, they got it down in the corner. That's where they made their moves. If you'll remember, Dudley Bradley was found open under there, and he also drove it against Jaminsky, so it's rock-a-bye baby, and pretty soon dashed to the finish.
All right, now there's concerns about Bob Bender. He, we understand, underwent an appendectomy tonight. Is he going to be able to recover to get back into any tournament play at all? We talked a lot about these two teams. Let's don't forget, other teams in the ACC are expecting to go to the NIT MIT, including Virginia, Clemson, perhaps NC State. Well, the final score again here tonight, an 8-point victory for the University of North Carolina to win the championship. So for Bones McKinney and Billy Packer, I'd like to say it's been great working with you men again. We'd like to say goodbye from Greensboro, North Carolina.